As an industrial consumer of electricity, I have two main objectives with which I want to procure the renewable energy solution. One is to reduce my electricity cost, and second, to reach RE100 basically at 100% renewable energy level. So to meet these goals, I keep wondering which renewable energy solution shall I procure and from which state shall I procure, because I keep wondering there are many announcements made by different states like Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, and then there are central government announcements which keep enticing me and keep making me wondering that what are these policies, how are these policies benefiting me as an industrial consumer, which state has a better policy, from which state shall I procure my power. So I keep wondering whether shall I procure the renewable energy power from the state where my project is, or shall I procure the renewable energy power from the states which has the best policy. These were the exact words of the managing director of the country's, one of the country's largest steel company, when I met him last week in the eastern part of the country. And in this meeting, the managing director of this company asked me, Gaurav, how do I decide with so much announcements, positive announcements everywhere, and I keep hearing these two interstate and intrastate open access as the buzzwords, and I don't know which solution makes sense for me, from which state shall I procure. As one of the country's leading renewable energy consultant, can you help me decode, decide what are these buzzwords: interstate open access solution, intrastate open access solutions, from which state shall I procure? So I had a 90-minute interaction with him, and after that meeting he got the clarity about which solution from which state that he shall procure. He got the clear framework, clear answer to it. So with this intent, I thought of making this video so that you as an industrial and commercial customer, I am sure you must be also seeking answers to these queries. So in this video, I will break down for you the difference between the interstate and intrastate open access solutions. What are the key differences between these two solutions, so that you have a clarity that whether you should procure interstate solution or intrastate solution, and what is the difference between these two key important renewable energy solutions. So there are four key differences between interstate open access solution and intrastate open access solution. Before I dive into those four key differences, I just want to give you a one-liner difference. As the name says, interstate is a solution wherein you, in your state, if your project is in X state, you can procure power from Y state, which is across the India, and or from any of the state wherever there is a renewable energy solution which is available. Intrastate is the solution which is basically you can procure power from the project which is being set up within your state. So this is like a brief one-liner differences between these two solutions. Having understood this basic definition of these two solutions, I would like to further break down into the further differences, which are four important differences, so that you can clearly understand the difference between these two solutions, and so that it can help you decide which solution that you should go for if you are in a particular state. So the first, which is the most important difference, is the project. So in the intrastate solution, as I said, the renewable energy project is being set up within your state, within your state boundary, through which you can procure solar, wind, or renewable energy solution. In the interstate solution, the project is being set up outside your state, from which you can procure wind, solar, or hybrid or renewable energy solution. And typically, these projects are being set up in these states where the resources, availability of resources like wind, solar is very, very high. So this is one key important difference. So second key important difference is the transmission and wheeling infrastructure, which will be used to transmit the power. In the intrastate solution, the transmission and wheeling infrastructure of the state utilities is being used. In the interstate solution, where the project is being set up outside your state, other than the use of state transmission and wheeling infrastructure, the infrastructure of central transmission utility, which is PGCIL, is also used to transmit power from one state to another state. So this is another key difference between these two solutions. Third key difference is the policies. In the intrastate solutions, open access solution, these projects are governed by the state policy. Whether, like, for example, if your project is in Maharashtra, so it will be governed by the Maharashtra solar policy or wind policy, and you will get benefits as per the intrastate policy is being announced. In case of interstate transmission system, these projects are being governed by, one is the central policy in terms of transmitting the power, and there will be certain role of the regulations being played by the state in which you are procuring the power. Since the interstate transmission solutions are new solutions, especially for the renewable energy, so this is clear that it is not being governed by the state policies, but it will be a combination of state regulations plus the central regulations. Fourth important difference between these two solutions comes down to resource availability. When I say resource, it means resources like wind resources, solar resources, or hydro resources. Typically, in an intrastate kind of solution, you will be restricted to use the resources which are available within your state. For example, Uttar Pradesh has solar as a resource, but it does not have wind as a resource available. So if you are procuring an intrastate solution, you would be restricted to the resources available in that particular state. In the interstate solution, it is dependent where the power is being generated, in which state the power is being generated. Typically, the projects which are getting set up in the interstate solutions are getting set up in a state where the resource availability is very high for both solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources. For example, Rajasthan, which is very rich in solar as a resource availability and also rich in wind as a resource availability. Likewise, Gujarat, likewise states like Tamil Nadu and other states. So this is the fourth important difference between the intrastate and the interstate solution. So I just want to quickly summarize the four important differences that I talked about between the intrastate and the interstate solution. So number one is the project. The project is within state, outside state. Number two is the infrastructure, which is the transmission wheeling infrastructure, which is within the state. And in case of interstate, it is within the state plus the central transmission utility. Third is the policy. The intrastate projects are being governed by the state in which your facility is, the policy of that state, and the interstate is being governed by your state regulations plus the central resources. And the fourth important difference is the resource availability. In the intrastate, you will be limited to use the resources which is available in your state, whereas in interstate you can use the resources which is available in that particular state where the power is being generated. I hope you got clarity about. The objective of this video was to give you clarity on what is the difference between the interstate and intrastate solution, so that you are clear and get that confusion very clear in your head that there is a clear difference between the interstate solution and intrastate solution. I will in my next video cover on what parameters will you be able to decide whether you have to go for an interstate solution or the intrastate solution, and also will answer whether you should go for Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Rajasthan, because you keep hearing about so many policies being announced by so many states, and then there are central policies. So I'll cover it and break down in my next video then how to decide whether you should go for intrastate solution or interstate solution. I hope you found value in this video, and if you want to continue the interaction with me and my team to help you decide whether you should go for interstate solution or intrastate solution, then I have a special invitation for you to book one-on-one call interaction with me and my team. So this will be a 1-hour interaction and meeting with us, wherein we will break down and understand your renewable energy requirements in detail, and basis your requirements study the regulations of your state, and basis the cost benefit analysis, we will break down the framework and give you a guidance then that which solution that you should go for, so that when you walk out from that meeting you have a very clear clarity on which solution that you should go for basis your requirement, regulatory study and the cost benefit analysis. So I request you to accept this invitation, book one-on-one call with us. Your investment is 1 hour of your time, and I can assure you, you will get 100x value for that 1 hour of time. So looking forward to see you in one-on-one interaction and in my next video. Thank you so much for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you.